Good morning, America, and welcome to yet another pivotal edition of the Impact Money Show. We're here to guide you through the labyrinth of finance, politics, and global happenings that define our era. Today's show is a journey through tragedy, market dynamics, and geopolitical chessboard. So let's delve in with both heart and mind. We start with a heavy heart, focusing on the heart-trending tragedy at Ronald Reagan Airport, or DCA, where the mid-air collision claimed the lives of at least 28 individuals. Though they haven't found some of the other ones, there's not believed to be any survivors. An American Airlines regional jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter met in a deadly dance in the skies. No survivors among the 67 passengers and crew. The incident, where the helicopter reportedly violated its altitude ceiling, has led to an immediate and thorough investigation by the FAA and the NTSB. Initial insights suggest critical oversight in air traffic control, with one controller managing both aircraft and helicopter traffic, sparking a national conversation on aviation safety. In response to this, President Trump has taken decisive executive action, appointing an acting FAA administrator and ordering a sweeping review of the safety protocols. This tragedy resonates deeply with many, including myself, who lost friends in the disaster. The figure skating community mourns the loss of at least 14 of its own, including plus the families that were there and the coaches. They were coming back from the U.S. Figure Skating Championships in Wichita, Kansas, leaving an inevitable mark on the sport in our community. Wow. Yeah, so pretty rough, really. I don't know. I mean, a little plane with 60 people. It's crazy that myself and my family was connected to so many of them. It's extremely sad. I really don't even know what to say so much about it. I was a hockey player, and I was 16 years old. I had rotator cuff surgery on my shoulder, and that I tried to play after that, but it pretty much ended my career hockey. I loved playing hockey. And anyway, I got recruited by this guy to start ice dancing, and I was 17 at that point. It was like I was 16 when I got recruited. 17 when I started. 17th birthday I started ice dancing. Guy took me back there. I won't mention his name, but this guy a lot of people in the sport would know, and I was kind of lost at the moment. I was a 16-year-old kid, kind of engulfed in sports, and then I couldn't play sports, doing all the things that 16-year-old boys do at that time. And anyway, the guy took me back, and he said, "Listen, Bruce," he says, I've traveled the world 7 times over. I make $250,000 a year, and I'm around beautiful women all the time. He says, "I'll put you on the national team in 2 years." And being somewhat of lost, and knowing I was lost, I grabbed onto that and fluttered around the rink. The girls were real pretty. Met my wife that way. Met a lot of wonderful people that way. There were times when I thought, oh, I did this or did that. They wouldn't accept me. But the truth is, my father told me that figure skating community, son, they'll accept. They're very accepting. And it's true. It's a wonderful group of people. And we lost a lot of wonderful people. Yeah. So, what to do? I was fine really yesterday until I logged into Facebook, and then I thought, oh my God. So my wife's been a mess. the whole time. What to say? God bless their rest in peace. I pray for their families. We're here for you guys. The community's here for you guys. The world's here for you guys. We won't let you go for God. Moving to the financial markets, we're seeing signs of a market rebound this morning. Dow futures are up by approximately 33%, 0.33%. And NASDAQ futures have shown a more robust increase of around 0.75%, hinting at a bullish opening. That was one of the craziest parts yesterday. It's like a surreal moment. And realizing that so many people that I knew had passed away right here. Having had conversations with my daughters and explaining that, yeah, it was right here. It went in the Potomac. The markets pumped and everything just went on. It's like so weird. It's so weird. I wonder if when you pass, if you can still see the markets, or if you get to still see, if you still get to look down and see what's going on. I wonder. This follows a week where the Federal Reserve, the banking cartel, decided to keep interest rates steady, embracing a dovish stance. It's dovish, but there's also the overlying, it seems like they're not going to lower rates maybe as fast as they were thinking. They're going to slow it down, possibly. The banking cartel Fed chairman Jerome Powell's commentary about the economy being in a quite good place, despite the inflation still hovering around near 3%, has installed a sense of cautious optimism. The dovish policy might be what's fueling today's market sentiment, offering a breather after weeks of uncertainty. The U.S. dollar has seen a modest lift, up about 0.5% on the DXY, influenced by expectations that the Fed might take a more measured approach to rate cuts, and by President Trump's aggressive trade policies. The introductions of tariffs, including 10% on all imports and a hefty 60% on Chinese goods, are expected to have inflationary effects, but could in the short term strengthen the dollar by making U.S. products more competitive in the global markets. In the cryptocurrency realm, Bitcoin has experienced a slight decline, down about 1%. Of course, this is while I was putting the show together. It was trading at 104,200. It has been bouncing now, actually at 104,710, showing good signs that again we were in for an up day today. Another good day on the markets. The altcoin market shows some divergence. Again, this was a little bit earlier when it was down. Other altcoins like Litecoin and Algorand were still moving upwards, suggesting a potential shift in investor focus. This could signal the beginning of the altcoin season, where certain cryptocurrencies might outshine others, driven by developments or market dynamics. And I do think that actually altcoin season is finally here, with the new crypto president and the regulatory framework, the Fed coming out yesterday telling banks to bank crypto companies. I think alt season is finally here. When alt season comes, just so you know, we see a significant increase in the alternate currencies as Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has moved up very strongly up here over 100,000. 104,700 right now is what it's trading at. And so the altcoins, some of them have gone up and tripled and quadrupled and stuff like that. But normally in an alt season, we'll see them 10x, 20x, 40x. A lot of them. Not financial advice and all that good jazz, I'm supposed to say. But that looks to me like it's about to happen. I mean, you got to figure Litecoin right now is at 120, 133. Two nice days in Litecoin. But Litecoin's all-time high is 300 or 300 and something. Litecoin should be $1,000, in my opinion. So you figure $1,000, I mean, it's about 10x from here, right? And that's with Bitcoin already being this high. So now we're going to go boom. And is Bitcoin going to 10x? It might. It might. If Bitcoin 10x is, then everything really goes flying, which it might. If Trump decides to go with the strategic Bitcoin reserve, this really might happen. Either way, we're going. But I think alt season is finally here. I think you're going to see things shift off. Even our own Global Boost Media, our own cryptocurrency is showing signs of, and it's an old currency, 11-year-old currency, showing signs of pushing upwards. There's a lot of development going on behind the scenes, a lot of stuff I won't talk about at the moment, where we're going to take care of everybody. Okay? Try to take care of everybody. Not promising or anything like that, but we're working towards it. And a lot of exciting stuff as well that we're putting together, I can tell you that. But those types of things, when those alternate currencies, usually Global Boost for us, that will lead with a nice big pump, whether it's 10x or 20x or something like that. Again, not financial advice or more. And then that will, for us, really just launch everything into the stratosphere. We are putting together as well our events in Miami around I'll be speaking at the family office event down there on the 18th and 19th. And of course, my friend Stephen Melnick is doing his event there as well on the 20th. So we'll be down there. We'll have some nice events for people. For commodities, gold remained steady while silver gained about 0.75%. Silver's performance could be linked to dual role in industry as a precious metal, potentially benefiting from anticipated industrial demands or economic recovery. Nevertheless, the strengthening of the dollar could pose challenges to both metals unless the global economic uncertainty intensifies. This past week was significant for the markets, with the banking cartel FOMC meeting and multiple economic indicators playing a crucial role. The relief from these announcements might allow markets to surge next week, but we must be vigilant. Any unexpected economic data or global event could pivot markets' directions. On the political front, Trump's administration has been at the center of numerous discussions, from legal battles with media companies to contentious immigration policies, including the controversial use of Guantanamo Bay for housing migrants. I'm not sure why that's controversial, but these decisions have sparked debate. His campaign nominations, like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Health and Human Services, have also been scrutinized for their qualifications and ideological alignments. I think we're all hoping for RFK Jr. to get confirmed. It's so crazy what is going on now with the healthcare in the U.S. It's unbelievable. Part of his time there when he was talking, he says, we have big problems, and they're all trying to, this and that and the other on him. And anyway, let's pray for him. Internationally, the war in Ukraine persists, with both Trump and Putin signaling a desire for dialogue, yet the military situation remains dire. Russian forces continue their push in key Ukrainian cities like Pavlovsk, while Ukrainian drone strikes back at the military targets. This conflict not only claims lives, but also disrupts European energy markets, with Ukraine's halt on Russian gas transit causing energy supply concerns across the continent. As we cannot turn away from the ongoing crisis in Gaza, where the Palestinian Health Ministry has reported 47,460 deaths since October 2023. The international community, including NGOs and legal bodies, has raised allegations of genocides against Israel's actions, leading to high-profile legal proceedings at the International Court of Justice. The blockade, destruction, and humanitarian crisis in Gaza has sparked global protests and a call for peace, with Israel defending its military operations as necessary defense against Hamas, underlying the tragic complexity of the situation. As we navigate these challenging times, from market fluctuations to international conflicts, the Impact Money Show remains committed to providing you with analysis and insights needed to understand the interplay between money, markets, and global affairs. Stay with us as we continue to explore these stories, looking beyond the numbers to the human impact and the potential for change in our world. I have with me here our Market Watch report from the great Matt Dixon. Matt is back in Dubai, so he's only back for a little while so far. So he sent over Market Watch report recorded for us. Let me just pull that up for everybody here. The great Matt Dixon with the Market Watch report. Let's see here. There we go.
Good morning, Bruce, and good morning, Impact Money viewers. So I want to give a quick roundup before the weekend, see where we are and where we're likely to be going. So I thought I'd start with gold today. We did say gold yesterday was looking bullish, and if you remember, we counted from the previous all-time high here, 3 waves down, and 3 waves, as we know, is corrective. And we started this push higher. Now, the push higher appears to be in 5 waves, so we can see that here quite clearly. Wave 1 up to here, 2 down to here, 3 to here, 4 to here, and 5 to here. And quite interestingly, I've mentioned in the past that gold, very often, it's the 5th wave, which is the extended wave. So we can see within this small cycle here that, again, it is the 5th wave that's the extended wave. Let's just have a quick look at and see if there's any Fibonacci relationship in there. First of all, I'll measure the first wave here. So we can see I measured the extent of the first wave. I'll compare that with, the 3rd wave is extended, but the 5th wave is obviously way more extended. And the 5th wave actually extends to about 3.618. Now, that is a common extension. It's not actually a Fibonacci extension. 2.618 is. If you looked at the Fibonacci sequence, you will see 3.618 isn't an actual Fibonacci extension, but it is actually a very common extension. That's why I've got it in here. So we reached about 2,800 we peaked at. It's looking a bit choppy around here. We may even push a bit higher, who knows. But as I was saying, this is a 5-wave move higher. It tells us that it's still impulsive to the upside. So at some point, we will get a pullback in minimum 3 waves, 3, 7, or 11 waves probably in the pullback. And depending on a number of waves would depend on the length of that extension. It shouldn't be too deep, but we will get a pullback at some point. And as I say, it should be in 3, 7, or 11 waves. And that would then open the way for a new push to a new all-time high for gold. So gold is bullish because inflation is still a problem. And of course, inflation is the gold is the traditional hedge against inflation. We now talk about Bitcoin being digital gold, but definitely gold is the traditional hedge and will remain so, I believe, for some time to come. We do know the central banks, a number of central banks like China and Russia and so on have been stocking up on gold. And that's obviously they're anticipating a potential inflationary crisis ahead. And who knows, that could be the case. There are a number of issues with America at the moment in terms of rising inflation. They're not able to cut interest rates. And of course, they didn't cut this time. We know that Trump wants to cut rates, but the Fed chair has basically said we cannot cut rates at the moment because inflation is still elevated and potentially even going to advance further. So this is the problem. This is the dilemma the central bank has and why inflation is a problem and why, of course, people are buying into gold and why it keeps pushing to new all-time highs. Now, as you know, we mentioned again yesterday that we've been pushing gold on this show. When I say we've been pushing gold, we've been just demonstrating the bullish case from a chart perspective for gold for the past more than a year now that we've been running this show. And we've been right all the way. You can see the trend is most definitely higher for the past year. If you look back further, you'll see it's definitely a continual trend higher. And they do say trend is your friend. So as long as the trend is higher, let's stick with it and let's look to buy lows. We don't buy highs. We don't chase the market higher, but we do look to buy the dips in the market. So let's wait for the next dip when that might come and maybe use that as a buying opportunity going forward. So I'm just going to, as it's a weekend roundup, as it were, or a roundup just before the weekend, I'll just skip through a few of the assets to show where we're at. So on dollar index, I'll go longer term dollar index first of all. Go on to the daily just to show where we're at. And I do think that we've had potentially a large wave 1 or wave A down, then we've had a large wave 2 or wave B higher. And that wave 2 or B was made up itself of an A, a B, and a C wave higher. So a very typical corrective move. So we would expect.
Hold on here. Sometimes when I'm doing other stuff on here, it gets a little upset at me.
Itself as an a B, and a C wave higher. So a very typical corrective move. So we would expect there to be now a fairly substantial move to the downside. Now, if it's a wave A, then B, then C, we're still going to get a massive move to the downside that should take us below this A wave, I would believe, which was below 99 for the dollar index. And you can see right now we're $108 index, so much lower to go. But if it's a 1 and 2, then 3 would be expected to be an extended wave, would take us much lower.
All right, let me, here we go here. Boom.
Much lower to go. But if it's a 1 and 2, then 3 would be expected to be an extended wave, would take us much lower again. So potentially there's going to be, well, we've already seen a turnaround really for the dollar. The dollar has begun to weaken quite a bit. I mean, it's not that long ago. I want to say not that long ago, latter part of 2022, we peaked on dollar index here at a level of 114. We're not that much lower now because it's been very much a corrective move, which is choppy, overlapping. As we can see, every one of these waves overlaps the previous wave. They're all overlapping, so it's very corrective. So we do expect at some point a move down in dollar index. That can sometimes be positive risk assets, but it actually depends on the reason behind the dollar move. So we need to actually follow this closely because there's always a linkage between those technical analysis data points and the fundamental analysis and sentiment. And that's why I use Elliott Wave quite a lot, because Elliott Wave does kind of tie these things together. It looks at behavioral analysis, and it's kind of linked with sentiment. And I think it's a very good way to build a background structure for the rest of the TA and fundamental analysis that you'll be using to analyze the markets and try to predict where you're going to be moving. So just from a simple chart perspective, it looks as though we've got lower to go with the dollar. And as I say, it will depend on the reasons for that dollar decline as to what happens with the markets. So, I mean, looking at oil, similar sort of picture. I do think that we've had an A wave down, a B wave up, and I think we've got C wave down to take us lower with oil. That is potentially due to a lack of demand, and that's probably a sign of economies slowing, which isn't necessarily a good thing. But this is the problem. If economies are slowing and yet we've still got a problem with inflation, then the central banks really do have a problem because they can't lower interest rates. Normally they would want to lower interest rates to stimulate the economy, but they can't lower interest rates if inflation is still a problem. So this is the dilemma they have. So again, we appear to have had probably an A wave down. I mean, we could probably see this as wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. That's a 5-wave move for A. Some kind of probably a 3-wave move. It's hard to tell, to be honest. A B wave anyway, and then the C wave down. It's all very choppy, overlapping characteristics there. So very typical of an ABC move down. But following that correction, if it is an ABC correction, then that means that the trend is still very much to the upside. So even though it's correcting lower because of lack of demand perhaps at the moment, at some point in the not too distant future, we would see oil rocket to those highs that we saw at the height of the Russia-Ukraine crisis in 2022, where we saw where we saw oil reaching around $130 area per barrel. So once this correction is complete, we actually are likely to do that again, test that. And that would probably not be a runaway economy, I doubt. It's more likely to be geopolitical tensions. I believe there's still a lot more to play out. We can see that there's no real settlement as yet within the Middle East. So at some point, this will flare up again, and we'll see new highs here for oil above that 130 area. But short term, as I say, we're seeing more downside. This could be indicative of maybe some bullishness in the markets, possibly in the risk asset markets. So we'll jump into Bitcoin now. It's gone pretty well as expected. I tried to look at this from the FTX low on the long term. This is daily chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, working on a fifth wave higher. Once we've completed the fifth wave, that is the end of this cycle. We then expect a fairly substantial pullback. So we're not yet there. We've done 1, we've done 2, we've done 3, we've done 4, but we're not yet finished the fifth wave. I believe there's still higher to go. So if we open that chart out a little bit, and I'll just go down to the 4-hour time frame. Here's that wave 4, and we're working on the fifth wave. So even that is made up of a 1, 2, 3. We're probably
here we go. Yeah.
And we're working on the fifth wave. So even that is made up of a 1, 2, 3. We're probably working on a wave 4 at the moment. As you can see, this is within. So the fifth wave itself is made up of 5 waves. So we've got probably wave 1 to here, 2 to here, 3 to here. Choppy wave 4 somewhere here, which you can see I've got labeled. I just open it out more and more so you can see. And then the fifth wave within the fifth wave. So you can see 3 is up here. We've got a WXY in the making for wave 4. I'll probably even go to the hourly chart here just to show you in a bit more detail. I think it's good that we open this out. So there's the wave 3. We've got some kind of WXY, I think, in the making, which will make up a wave 4. And then we've got the final fifth wave higher to go, the fifth of the fifth. So the fourth wave is made up of an ABC making a W wave, an ABC making an X wave. And I did say that I was expecting this to morph into a double correction. So this is a single correction here, a single zigzag, a 535 zigzag for the W, and then a correction here, a 3-wave correction for the X. And then we would expect, and I was saying, I don't think we're going to continue higher. I think we're going to get some pullback in the market. And that's precisely what's happening. We peaked here, obviously, at 106. We're currently 104. It looks as though we're heading down. So it may take a little while to complete the correction, but the silver lining in this cloud is that this does appear very, very corrective in nature. So after this A wave, we've had potentially a triangle B wave. If it is a triangle B wave, we know it's not a wave 2, so we know this isn't the beginning of an impulse down. It's all part of a larger correction because, of course, triangles cannot occur in wave 2 position. It can only occur in wave 4 or wave B. That's why I've labeled this as a wave B. And then this C takes us down to W. So telling me this is not, most likely, not impulsive down, it's corrective. So even though I suspect we have lower to go, it means that the impulsive direction is still higher. So I'm still bullish Bitcoin. I'm still expecting us to push up in a final fifth wave, a fifth of a fifth of a fifth. In fact, if you looked at it in terms of the number of cycles, the fractals that we're looking at. So this final fifth wave could be quite aggressive. It should take us to new all-time highs above the previous high of 109. Should take us quite clearly and nicely above that to new all-time highs. So I think that any pullbacks are just opportunities to buy the dip, to dollar cost average, to add to your position if you're interested in going long Bitcoin. I think that the narrative is great behind it. We've got government, getting exposure now to Bitcoin. We've got institutions, we've got the individuals, we've got the retail. There's massive interest there. So I do think Bitcoin will lead the field. So moving on from Bitcoin, Ethereum, as you well know by now, is one of my least favorite assets among the main assets. Obviously, it's the second biggest. It's the only other one other than Bitcoin to have its own ETF at the moment. But I do think that Ethereum has had its day, as I've said before, that it used to be used with its smart contract features, and it used to be used for virtually every or most of the other assets within crypto world. But now there are many others coming into play that are more efficient, that are faster, that are quicker, and that are definitely cheaper. Even though the gas fees have come down quite a bit on Ethereum, they're still extortionate compared with the likes of Solana, for example. So I do think that possibly Ethereum's had its day, but even so, it will still be captive to Bitcoin. and the rest of the market. And if Bitcoin rises, no doubt Ethereum will rise. I just have doubts whether Ethereum will ever break its previous all-time high, which was around 4,800. I'm pretty confident Bitcoin will, and I'm pretty confident Solana will, and I'm pretty confident XRP will, but I'm not so confident that Ethereum will. So mentioning Solana, again, I've tried to open this chart out a little bit to see where we're at. Once again, we have that triangle formation, which again gives me confidence that we're not yet finished on upside movement. So we've had a wave 4. Again, we could go all the way back to the FTX low and move up from there. But I'm looking at this, just focusing on this final fifth wave, which appears to be a wave 4. So working on a fifth wave. But within the fifth wave, we have 5 waves, of course, because of the fractal nature of the wave count. So from the wave 4 here, we have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Wave 3 took us to about 2.618 times the wave 1 that I measured there. It's quite a difficult count. I'm not absolutely certain that I'm correct, but I do think that it's a wave 3. And I think we then had an A wave down, a B wave triangle, and we're working on a C wave down to finish wave 4. So we then have wave 1, 2, 3, and 4. This wave 4 is quite deep, but that's again quite typical with the Elliott wave. You have the rule, it's not a rule, it's a guideline of alternation when wave 2 and wave 4 tend to have alternate structures, alternate durations, alternate depth. So here we can see that wave 2 is very shallow, very simple, probably a simple zigzag correction. But we can see that wave 4 is very deep. That's in alternation to wave 2. A completely different, quite complex structure here for wave 4. Very drawn out, quite deep, drawn out, long affair. So there's a great deal of alternation between what we have here as wave 4 and what we have here labeled as wave 2. So although it looks really complex and long drawn out wave 4, it is actually reasonable. And the point is we haven't overlapped into territory of wave 2 here. Sorry, into territory of wave 1 here. We haven't.
There we go here. Boom.
Overlapped into territory of wave 2 here. Sorry, into territory of wave 1 here. We haven't overlapped into that territory with wave 4. So we are still following these guidelines perfectly. So I wouldn't expect if it breaks below the top of wave 1 here, then something's wrong. So that's if it breaks below 207, probably this wave count is wrong, and we need to have another look. But at the moment, it's actually fitting nicely. So I think we're still in wave 4. Then we'll get a final wave 5, powerful push to the upside, powerful push to new all-time highs above the previous high of 295. So after 295, we've got this long drawn-out correction. Then we should get a powerful push to the upside to new all-time highs, probably well into the 300s at least, and maybe well beyond. So I'm very bullish. The main assets, as I said, I've already shown I'm bullish Bitcoin. I'm now clearly showing I'm very bullish on Solana. But once again, it's a matter of dollar cost average. You can even start around these areas. You know, all around here, it's all choppy area. I do expect lower, but dollar cost average means you don't commit everything at the same time. Just in case I'm slightly wrong on the wave count and we already finished the correction here, we could have started higher potentially. So I could have got it wrong. So this is why you dollar cost average. There's never absolute certainty when it comes to trading. There are probabilities, and every probability has a, well, so the many possibilities, sorry, every possibility has a probability assigned to it. So the probability is likely we're going to see more downside, but there's also some you can assign some probability to the possibility that we've actually already bottomed here and we could be pushing, bottomed here, we could be pushing higher already. This is why dollar cost average is the order of the day, I believe. And I'll probably start, you know, anywhere around this consolidation level here. And if it does dip lower, it's just a further buying opportunity. And dollar cost averaging is, of course, averaging your buy price with the full expectation that this is a clear correction and we should actually rally powerfully to new all-time highs, as I say, to minimum 300s, but maybe well above. So I think there's great opportunity here already, and as I say, if we continue to dollar cost average, if we buy more and more dips, then that would be fantastic. Solana, we've mentioned before, again, looks like it's in corrective mode downwards because it's all overlapping, got 3 waves down so far. So even if we get a bit further pullback, I think there's new all-time highs to come for XRP. So again, quite bullish there. Let's just move over to the stock markets, the S&P 500. We could still potentially get, and again, it aligns a little bit with Bitcoin. We've had, this high point. I'll just scroll out a little bit so we can see that from the all-time high on the S&P 500, we moved down in an A wave. We can see this A wave down. I think this is most likely a B wave higher at the moment. We haven't surpassed the previous all-time high. We're still a little way off that, and I think we may get a bit of a pullback in a C wave before we once again rally to new all-time highs. So I don't think we've yet seen the end of the stock rallies. I think there's new all-time highs to come for the S&P, for the Dow, for the Nasdaq, and for many of the other stock markets. So they're still going to be relatively easy on monetary policy, plenty of money in the system, and the economy is not in such a bad state at the moment. But I think that things could deteriorate a little bit later this year. I mean, not too much later this year. So first of all, though, I think we're going to see a major rally. Maybe they will reduce interest rates again. They say they're still not normalized, so they're still looking to reduce rates. So if they do reduce rates, then that will be the fuel that gives us the next rally to new all-time highs for various cryptos and stocks. The one that's really rallied, I'll just look at briefly at Litecoin. Again, you can see here quite clearly from the top here, we had an A, we had a B, and we had a C wave down. It's actually a 535. That's a zigzag correction. We may well have completed also. This looks as though it might actually be corrective to the upside. So it doesn't negate the fact that we may get more downside again before we again push higher with Litecoin. So you can see we projected a long time ago that we were going to push higher, and that's exactly what happened. But I think we're probably actually in corrective mode again. I think a little bit like the S&P 500. I think we've had an A wave down, a B wave higher, and I think we're going to get a C wave down before we then push up again. So I think with most of the assets, just to kind of conclude and give some clarity to it, I think with most of the assets, we are expecting a bit further pullback within this corrective phase at the moment, this consolidation phase that we're in. So a little bit more pullback before we then rally quite powerfully for new highs, either local highs or all-time highs, depending on which asset you're looking at. So all in all, I am still bullish longer term, but long term, actually, I think we're going to get quite a severe correction. But just to finalize, I suppose I would say short term, I'm bearish. Medium term, I'm bullish. Long term, I'm relatively bearish. So that's it for the weekend. Have a great weekend. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And I look forward to catching up on Monday. Bye.
Oh, look at that. Look at him there with this. I don't know if that's if he's sitting on the beach there or if that's something in the background. I'll have to ask him. I thought he was in Dubai. That's not Dubai. That's somewhere else. I'll have to ask him. That looked pretty nice. Well, the Market Watch report with the great Matt Dixon, great report, world-class analysis that we have here. There's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. Long-term, short-term, long-term, mid-term. What will happen with your money? And of course, that's one of the reasons why we do this show. We are growing a lot. We're adding new stations. It is super exciting. We'll have more on that as we push forward. Now we had our ball, the inaugural ball in the Crypto Leadership Conference, which was absolutely amazing. So I'm going to play another one of the panels here. Let me share this tab that we had at the event. The crypto. This is another one of the health on the health track here. I'm about to introduce you guys.
So you guys learn anything yet?
Yeah, a lot.
We have sustainable living, health, autonomy, and earth regeneration. It's also led by Sophia Eric. Please welcome to the stage Kenneth Close, Laura Zaskell, Eric Mathis, Dr. Eric Berg. Yeah. Melissa Robbie. And of course, led by our Sophia.
Well, I'm not going to talk much. I'm going to give them the stage to give the stage to Ken Close, a friend of mine who I admire very much, and if anybody wants to understand anything about epigenetics, quantum physics, how that all belongs together. I've been on a journey since 2021 that transformed my life. It has to do with frequencies, and it completely altered the way I am. And I came to understand why Donald Trump is so successful. He affirms. He speaks in form of affirmations. And when he speaks as if it had already happened. And so it is. And that's the power when we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. We were having a conversation last night about that until, I don't know, 4 o'clock. So.
Oh my gosh.
That's where you were.
That's where we were. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You know, I believe it's a time for us to really declare our greatness. And my name's Ken Close. My background is in engineering. But I extended my studies into epigenetics and neuroscience. Where'd that lead me? To the quantum field. As mentioned before, what we can create must exist within us, and that's the beginning. And I think that no, I know that in order for something new, something old must be surrendered. And it's really a time right now that we surrender things that just don't work. I mean, it's a pretty simple equation. When we're looking at engineering anything, we want to focus on efficiency. What does work? We already know probably firsthand what doesn't work. And I know none of you guys practice anything that doesn't work. Maybe you know somebody who does, and we can advise them. Let's make some changes. And the reason I promote that is because we have enormous power to genetically create these bodies. And I level the playing field in one place. I don't care if you're a financial genius or if you're a parent to a new family, a young one. I level the playing field in one place, and that's with the body. If the body is broken, so is your life. And so we can fix the body, and the way we can do that, and the way we do take our power back, is that we understand how it works. And if we understand the genetic process, 800,000 cells per second are being recreated in your body right now. And right now, and right now, and then right now. So 800,000, just do the math. We have what, 86,400 seconds in a day. Times that by 800,000 cells. That's the new you today. Now, 3% of that genetic code says it's going to be a bone cell, a muscle cell, a skin cell, and it's going to still look like you. 3%. Well, what the heck the other 97% does? It's an adaptive gene reading the environment to say what quality of that cell do we become. And the external environment of the cell is the internal environment of your body. And if we understand what actually changes that 97%, it's a frequency. It's information. What kind of information? What you had for breakfast? No. How well you slept last night? No. It's more objective than that. It is a frequency. It's an intelligence. And there's a divine intelligence. You've heard maybe somebody out there talking about quantum physics. Maybe you heard somebody talking about manifestation, how you create things. So there's a divine intelligence to that process. It is the quantum field. All information exists there, but it's objective. And the way that we manifest matter into form, Einstein talked about this, maybe you know this understanding, it requires an observer, right? All the waveform is potential. That's the quantum field. It's not until the observer sees it, believes it, that it becomes material form or particle. This is how your body works. And if you want to go from the very basics of creating your genetic code, becoming your own epigeneer is what I call me. Then understanding that process might mean that you figure out what that frequency is and how do you control it? How do you change it? How do you orchestrate it as the puppeteer of your body? How do you do that? Well, your thoughts have energy in electrical charge. Your emotions have energy in a magnetic charge, and your thoughts and your feelings become a frequency. They are frequency. And so the way you think and the way you feel designs that 97% of that genius genetic code that's you. So who wants to take their power back? I believe that we start with the body. We teach ourselves how we genetically create us. I don't care if you had an organic breakfast. I don't care if you're fasting. I don't care what your PhD is in. None of that matters if you're broken. If the body is disabled because of a disease or disconnect, or what we call destructive interference in physics, it doesn't matter. The body becomes to the tune of, there'll be a test. How many cells? 800,000 cells per second. You wrote that down. Because the moment you're sitting there in a state of chaos, justified or not, who here feels like that they have a cause, right? I mean, we do. And that cause, the way that we emotionally attach to it, mentally rehearse it, and build a model around it, ends up in the genetic expression, you. And if that you, aka body, is in some disorder, maybe it's in pain, right? And you might chalk it up, well, I'm just getting older. Nope. I'm just, a victim of my past, an injury in college, or something that happened to me. I got caught up in traffic and I'm justified in giving them that sign language. The point is that every moment, 800,000 cells are recreating themselves. And you are the master. So we declare our greatness in a more genetic way. We take our power back. And we decide that what they're talking about around the water cooler at work, or the rumors at school for our children, right? Or something on the news is not as significant. Because that's making the you that becomes either empowered or disempowered. Constructive interference, destructive interference. There's your lesson in physics. So I invite everyone, and I do this. This is my practice. My practice is I take very simple systems and then couple them together to make a big change. And then in the engineering world, it's about efficiency, right? And it's about principles. And if I could teach you a principle of how the body heals, and guess what? I just did. If I teach you a principle about how you become a better version of yourself, and guess what? I just did. Then you might take those principles and apply them somewhere in your life. They will apply to anyone's life. So the principles are really important. To take these complex ways, intelligent ways that the body and mind create a personality, a self, and then make them very easy. And through, through my process, it's called Core Effect. You can go to coreeffect.com and take a look at what are we using to influence that genetic code. I just told you a way that you can do it yourself, but what if you're so stressed out that you can't even think straight? I mean, there's that condition, right? Where you've been labeled as depressed or anxious or some things that modern medicine may say. And you can't get beyond that self. Okay, well, let me show you how we can do it with a few different therapies: light therapy, sound therapy, vibration therapy, microcurrent therapy. And then we can really take the power back by changing your body. So I just wanted to say, hey, take your power back, right? Demonstrate your greatness, and now become an epigeneer yourself. Who's in, right? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Laura Sassfeld, and I'm from Morrison, Colorado. Usually I get an applause for Colorado. It's a great thing. Okay, so I speak to a lot of college students. So guess what? I do a lot of pop quizzes. I do participation to make sure they're paying attention. So we're going to start out with, so make America healthy again. All right, we say it all the time. MAHA, make America healthy again. I want you to shout out your answer to why. Make America healthy again. Why?
Children.
Foundation.
The children.
Future truth. Okay. Good. Now, make America healthy again. How? How do you propose we do this? I just want to hear your answer. Make America healthy again. How? Get rid of the FDA. Get rid of the conglomerates. What else?
Generative agriculture.
Oh, you stole it. Do what? Get RFK Jr. approved. Anybody else? Get rid of the poisons in the food. Get rid of education. Okay.
Culture.
Pray the rosary. Amen. Right? Sure. Okay. Anyway, we won't talk about it right now. Okay. So our solution, and Richard Lackey touched on it, our solution to make America healthy again is not removing things or getting rid of things, which is valid, totally valid. But for us, make America healthy again. How are we going to do it? Make American soil healthy again. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to revitalize, right? We've been doing a lot of extracting. We've been doing a lot of poisoning. It is true. We need to get rid of that. But for us, the solution is revitalization. For us, we have to move quickly. For us, when you were listening to these panels, wasn't it like, gosh, I wish more people could hear this, right? When they're communicating to the room, there's not enough of us. So what is the solution? And Richard and his group have proved this beautifully in Africa. The solution is media and TV series where you reach hundreds of millions of people every day, every week, right? We're not talking about a documentary. What Farm Hero is, sorry, I'll repeat it. Richard mentioned it. I'm the host of a new TV series called Farm Hero. So when we looked at this, make America healthy again, let's revitalize the soil, regenerative agriculture. But what's the correct order of magnitude of our communication? The correct order of magnitude is hundreds of millions at a time. How do you do that? With a TV series. And that's why when I walked in, it's like, where's the TV? Where's the TV? Because I was going to show you a clip, a 2-minute clip.
We have it tomorrow. We have TV tomorrow.
Okay, we'll have TV tomorrow because I really want you to see the first teaser, the 2-minute teaser. Did we get the cue? Oh, okay, good. If you're on the MAHA group chat, then you have a quick response code, the 2-minute teaser, and please watch because the message, again, the correct order of magnitude is hundreds of millions. We've signed on with EarthX. We're looking at a few other channels. That means we've captured 100 million households in America so far, right? So we're taking the regenerative agriculture message, and just in a nutshell. In fact, again, participation, who knows what regenerative agriculture is even at the basic level? I have time. Okay, good, I'm glad, none of it, okay, good. So in a nutshell, because obviously there's a lot to it, but revitalizing the soil means a healthier plant, a healthier animal, a healthier human, right? A healthier planet. Regenerative agriculture handles carbon cycles, nutrient cycles, water cycles. I'm going to keep this super simple. So trust me, we're not going to go into the little bits and details, but regenerative agriculture handles all those cycles. It's a systematic approach to nature, right? How does nature do it? It's a holistic approach as opposed to reductionist theory. There's a weed, let's kill it. What? No. What eats that weed? What would flourish on that weed? How do we integrate pests and livestock? How do we integrate, right? A systematic approach. So that's what regenerative agriculture is. So please watch the 2-minute trailer. You're going to get the quick response code and check my notes. How? Revitalization of soil. Yes, yes, yes. Correct order of magnitude. So again, for my pitch, make America healthy again. Let's make American soil healthy again. Thank you.
Wow, thanks for setting the stage. My name is Eric Mathis. I am a good word, a PhD doer. As of a couple of months ago, I just completed my PhD in philosophy. As a background, I am working with the Obama administration for about 6 years. When I was in 4, not with, was not paid by the Obama administration. But I worked in Central Appalachia, one of the most unhealthy regions in the country. And we launched what was called Sustainable Williams, which later became a nationally acclaimed project. Why it was nationally acclaimed is we built a pretty complex ecosystem that we figured out how to scale throughout pretty much any urban environment throughout the United States. And we were looking for folks to figure out how to get that regenerative agriculture into the guts. We figured it out. Not just in concept, but literally built it from point A to point Z. So what we did in Central Appalachia is we launched all this from scratch. Was a federally qualified health center, which was a strategy that this present administration could leverage through HRSA to replicate this strategy all over the United States. And we linked that to a farmer's market, community health workers that were actually going into the households, assessing like soft and hard barriers to accessing healthy food. We work with veterans, training them to grow food, landing that food in restaurants. Our FQHC was writing prescription vegetables that included those restaurants. So we figured out how to basically embed a strategy within a small town in West Virginia that is now being replicated throughout Central Appalachia. So I have a TED talk. You can look it up there. TED talk, architecture. It explains that component. And that was kind of the social determinants of health approach. After I got kicked out of there by the last left me in 2020. So I've ran into a lot of frictions in working with various Democratic, very corrupt political machines that have kicked me out over the years. So I wear that back proudly. So I'm hoping to plug into this machine via an RFK and hopefully develop something that will stick as opposed to being kind of shut down. So I moved to Winston-Salem, where I worked at Crossdoor School and Children's Home. That's when I got introduced to the science of trauma resiliency and regenerative agriculture, specifically what's called bionutrient foods. The biggest takeaway kind of happens to the regenerative agriculture component. All those little geeky, sciencey details and everything. One of my good friends, Dave Keechurch at the Bionutrient Institute, they've figured out that there's a correlation between basically infusing soils with missing trace minerals that have been depleted over the years. Tons of studies to support that data. And a direct relation to, for example, some of the carrots I'm going to be growing with tons of K through 12 students in Catholic schools back in Louisville, where I'm from. They're going to be growing carrots and measuring the nutrient density of that, where that carrot has 100% increase in B12s, phytonutrients, polyphenols, you name it. And that gets all the other epigenetics, even at the quantum level, but I'm not going to go into that. So what we developed in Salem was a comprehensive strategy called food innovation. So up in coal country, the culmination of that was a health innovation hub. You can look it up, Sustainable Williamson Health Innovation Hub. It'll explain what that is. It's basically leveraging entrepreneurship, which is an existing strategy within the White House that we've leveraged in the past work that this administration leveraged through the EDA and all that kind of stuff. And then in Winston-Salem, we launched a food innovation district. So this is a trend from industry parks to innovation districts. That's basically industry parks with schools, restaurants, apartments, where you get spillover effects. You and I are talking about innovation. You and I are talking about innovation. So we create a company. That's where the entrepreneurial ecosystem kind of emerges around that. So what I'm proposing, and you can go to policies for the people. The title is Health Innovation Working Group and an accelerated approach to MAHA. So what I proposed on that is not a policy strategy, but an interagency platform that can literally be implemented tomorrow. We would meet with a bunch of agencies. I've done this before in the past. We can do it again. And basically it would leverage one of the predominant trends that have been used by both the Trump administration as well as the Obama administration called challenge grants. These are typically being run through the EDA and all those. Basically, it brings together various agencies such as USDA, EDA, HRSA, all that good stuff, and already established congressionally approved funding. That funding can basically be released into a challenge grant. And the idea is like 7 to 8 cities from across the country would develop these health accelerators that we could literally replicate what we've done in coal country. So thank you so much.
Testing. Okay, good. So I recently, just 5 minutes ago, looked up a word I had a misunderstanding about: reform. I thought reform was just change, right? That Latin word for reform means bring back to the original form. It's like, oh, I think that's interesting because making America healthy again, right? So I talked to my father, who's 87, and he showed me a picture of what his 5th grade class looked like in 1948. A little different than it looks right now to these kids coming out. So like there's not one overweight child in there. They look pretty rugged, healthy kids. So I did a whole interview to find out, like, what did people eat back then? Did they have, what did the grocery store look like? When you walked through the grocery store, did you have Fruit Loops? Did you have this ultra processed foods? No, they didn't have any of that. Did they snack? No. The only thing they snacked on, my father said, was a carrot, a cucumber out of the garden. So now we have an entire new category of snack foods, right? Like this, it's just completely out of control. So as I was looking at this problem in a nutshell, really you have big food over here, you have big pharma over here. Right in the center, you have the medical profession, which is basically treating with big pharma the symptoms of big food, generally speaking. So that's really what it's all about. But on top of that, what really ticks me off is that you as a taxpayer are funding the raw materials through subsidies for the junk food and funding a lot of the research through NIH for the drugs. Like, wait a second, how did we ever, I never, signed up for that. So there's so much corruption going on in this racket going on. So one of the biggest things that's missing that I see is just this really elephant in the room, this missing piece is like eating real food. Like doctors don't bring it up. We don't talk about it. Like they don't factor in food, actual real food in the equation of their diagnosis. So if you miss that one little point, the whole racket is just keeps going on and on. So it falls apart when you introduce real food. So one of the things that I'm really interested in doing is to help support this new movement to shine a big light on the areas that hidden connections, the corruption, these basic things to start getting people to shift over. But I think just by removing all the suppression this whole thing is being held down so hard, things are just gonna like effortlessly just go through, but the whole thing is rigged. It's all fake. So welcome to America.
Thank you, everybody. Let's give the stage to the next round, unless there's any questions, from the attendees, audience, for anybody?
How do you all work together? Individual
Initial.
components to bring it together.
We'll figure that out right after this.
One reason why we're doing this today
Here is
is exactly that. That's why we're coming together, so we can work together. That's why MAGA, crypto. So we're all under the umbrella of, let's get together and work together, forge bonds.
Yes.
Era unity to create the blueprint for a new America and a new world, and that's why we're here together. It's also why I built the solution I did, because we need to scale that as soon as possible, because we have too much suffering in the world.
Yes.
So that's why we're here.
The little group that we had brought us in. This is just a launch. If it would have gone the other way, we wouldn't be here. I would have been somewhere else, but not here. I lost Cuba 65 years ago. So yeah, we're creating the MAGA Crypto Movement USA. So you guys are, all of your talents, I want them there. This is the board right now. This is the brain trust. Remember I told you when I started? It's not people, it's the right people. And the right people are in this room. Everybody's gonna make money because I believe in capitalismo. But
Yes.
we're gonna do good things. Let me shut up. Mr. Rivera, I love you. Thank you for being here. Speaking of superstar, we'll talk later.
We have one more question.
There's some questions over there.
Go ahead.
I have a question about how you think this is gonna move forward. What's your vision? How does the government change? Because we can do it on this level, but obviously the reason we're here is because we elected officials that we want at the top to for lack of a better word, just completely destroy it and turn it inside out, make it, good again. It is so inherently, there's so many toxic veins that it has to be destroyed in order, dismantled in order to back together. Shock. So how do you see this coming together? What would you like to see in the immediate? How do you see it medium term? Because really, in my view, we only have 2 years to start making changes and convincing people that we're not what the like to call us conspiracy theorists it is, right? That we really out here because we care. So how do you see it in the next 2 years? How do you see it in the next 4 years and long term?
If I can talk to for just a second, you listen to my equation, right? There's a standard process for everything. If we're gonna break things down from an engineering perspective, there's just raw real, okay? And the raw real means that we need to, number one, decide what do we want. I'm gonna ask you a question, what do you want? We probably heard a lot of things about what I don't want. And that energy, listen, that energy has momentum. What don't I want? What don't I like? What don't I do? Or who am I to change the world? Who am I to change the world, right? Okay, so there's a raw material called manifestation, creation. It happens at an intelligent level that is connected to the quantum field. God, the universal principle, whatever you, universal law, whatever you want to call it, there's a very distinct formula. So I say, and I do, create what I do want. Make it clear, not just in your voice, in the way you speak, but the way you live. How do you live? Understand? Every moment is an expression to the world, and you, as an individual, amplify whatever you're being, not anything else. You amplify that. So if we're all going to create a system, we're amplifying each other in this very moment, whether we know each other or not. We just stay on our path of what we do want and let go of what we don't want. Stop engaging in that. You'll find that your life starts to multiply in ways that you least expect, because that's what you're supposed to do. Okay? I mean, that's just a simple equation.
I love that question, Elsie. So just very quickly, just bridging off of what this gentleman said, what's the ideal scene? Right? Because all of us know what the existing scene is. We can open our eyes and see what's happening before us and what you described beautifully. But what's the ideal scene? So that's what Farm Hero is trying to do. For those of you just into the room, Farm Hero, Regenerative Ag, we're showing what's being done correctly. We're giving role models at scale because it's a TV series. So people can see and decide for themselves what they want to manifest. But how do you know what you want to manifest if you don't even know what the ideal scene is, right? So that's what we're doing. Our small role in this is to show the ideal scene of agriculture and how it affects plants, animals, bodies, and the planet.
Yes.
So specifically the nuts and bolts of that, I want to refer everybody back to, I do have a TED Talk, Living Architecture. It basically explains the step-by-step process related to our policy strategy. There was also a mini documentary that we developed with my mentor, Van Jones. It's called Renew for Sight, that explains additional step-by-step process of how to get regenerative agriculture immediate within cities within a 2-year period. But along with the policies for the people, the Baja Accelerated Strategy, we are launching Victory Gardens initiative across the United States. So right now we've got about 15 states already committed to it. And basically we're just asking everybody in this room, if you want to sign up, all you do is just plant the food. We're going to have videos, we're going to have teaser videos, all that kind of stuff. We have our whole team to launch this movement. So whether or not the White House decides to jump on board with us, we're going to be doing it anyway.
Love it. Love it.
And, you know, whether, the White House jumps on it or not, we're still gonna do the same thing, grassroots. I think, RFK is pretty smart guy. He's developing a strategy. He's gonna be aligning everyone's resources. I know what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be kind of gathering the troops on social media and influencers so we can give out very specific messages about re-educating people on things. And, but some of the high level strategy of getting rid of the corruption is not going to be public. You're not going to know about it. It's going to happen because you got to realize what we're up against, right? I mean, massive opposition. So it's going to be done quietly.
What about medical?
Okay, so you had to bring that up. I think out of all the organizations, it's the hardest to teach someone who already knows it all, and it's like you're up against a lot of know best, and so I think it's going to be a little bit of a bypass. It's a disruptive thing where patients are like going more to natural remedies, and I mean, just for example, if you have a natural remedy that makes a claim that even gets close to preventing a disease, it becomes a drug. So now you practice medicine for a license, so that needs to change. So there's a lot of cool things happening with kind of allowing people to use natural remedies without being attacked and without, so I think, people are going to people who have natural solutions more and more. And they're not really buying into the whole doctor knows best anymore. So I think either they're gonna change or they're gonna be dinosaurs and be left in the dust because it doesn't work. Look at the product. Product of a healthy body, $4.5 trillion. They're not producing it. So unfortunately, the schooling, the training doesn't cover natural things or food. They don't bring that in. So it's gonna take an all hands on board to do that, but they're not gonna, I know they're not gonna be open to change. So we're just gonna bypass it,
Might be a little provocative, but I do believe that we have the administration now that we deserve because we worked for it. And I think moving forward, it's gonna get better from here.
It's okay?
Yeah, yeah.
We got you, girl. You're good. Not as good as her, but it looks good. Wait, hair. Yeah.
Okay, so be the light of Christ and become the saint you are called to be.
Yes.
So, real quick for the group, let's go. Let's go, wait, guys.
Hey, Randy, I got another home run for us, man. This 2-bit exchange is absolutely amazing.
Hey, Bruce, what's up, man? Yeah, why don't you tell me about that 2-bit exchange?
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to be able to list our coins that we want that we support, and they're going to be on this amazing derivatives platform. It's absolutely awesome.
Derivatives? I love derivatives. I can't wait to be on the trade copy program.
So what I want you to do is set up an account and then send me your UID, and let's set you up with a trade copy system, and you just let it run. Copy our trades. That's it. Easy peasy.
So you want me to open an account, send you my user ID, and you hook me up with the trade copy system. I can't wait. Sounds spectacular.
Hey, Matt. Hey, listen, I met with the guys at 2-bit exchange while I was in Dubai, and this platform really looks amazing.
Yeah, hi Bruce. Yeah, thank you again for that heads up. I mean, I've looked into this 2-bit platform. It does appear to have everything we're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. 2-bit, Toobit. They have great liquidity. They have futures platform. There's a lot of functionality that I think you're gonna like on there. And they really want to work with us. They want to work with the Impact Money Show. And as you and I both know, if they have a good product and they want to work with us, well, hey, that's half the battle.
I mean, basically, I love that copy trade facility. I love the features on the platform. It's basically very simple to use.
Our viewers only need to set it up to copy our trades, and they just do all the trades that we do. Makes it really easy for people to participate. I think they're going to love it. I'm pretty excited about it.
And yeah, it's definitely going to benefit people. I mean, obviously with all the years of experience that we can pack into it, and people can basically benefit from that. Yeah, I definitely think it's a goer.
Hey, David. Yeah, man, I'm excited about it too. I mean, when you think of the ways that we can help our viewers earn money and be able to participate in the monetary revolution, this 2-bit platform just opens up all kinds of doors that they don't have right now.
Hey, Bruce, I'm checking out this platform. It's revolutionary.
That's absolutely correct. And the futures platform is amazing. Great liquidity. And the copy trader program, people are going to be able to make the trades exactly when we make them and make the money that we make. It's a win-win for everybody.
Open for U.S. customers, and you can deposit money with a credit or debit card. Doesn't get better than this.
Beautiful. And what do you think we should use as a referral code?
I think we should use Impact Money. That's the one. Impact Money.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost. Become a champion of free speech. and help to reshape the future of media.